Catastrophic Necromancer Chapter 4466, ultimately still just a test subject. No doubt about it, Kuei's Supreme achieved. Lin Moyu closely observed Tianlang ancestors' entire process of reaching Kuei's Supreme and gained a deeper understanding. There are many ways to become Kuei's Supreme. Tianlang ancestor used his domain power, Dao power, power of faith, and his own personal strength. For ages, Tianlang ancestor had stored up experience and power within his domain, constantly refining it for this moment. His domain grew stronger throughout, acting as both warehouse and foundation. All that stockpiled energy would now be unleashed in the final breakthrough. His greatest preparation was finally useful. With all powers united, Tianlang ancestor shattered the barrier between perfection and Kuei's Supreme, stepping across. Upon becoming Kuei's Supreme, Tianlang ancestor radiated a new aura reminiscent of a Supreme, but not identical. To Lin Moyu, Kuei's Supreme means an imperfect Supreme. Incomplete realm, incomplete strength, incomplete Dao, but in some specific ways even superior, resulting in formidable power. Now Tianlang ancestor was infinitely beyond perfection. He could even battle Supremes on equal ground for a while, though ultimately he would lose. He shrank back down, returning to human form. Lin Moyu congratulated him evenly. "Congratulations, senior, on achieving Kuei's Supreme." His tone remained calm and unaffected, unchanged by the ancestor's advancements. For Tianlang ancestor, this was proof he was almost certain now that Lin Moyu was Catastrophe Supreme reincarnated. It was best to be friends with someone graced by such fate, never enemies, regardless of current power. Even after becoming Kuei's Supreme, Tianlang ancestor felt he couldn't risk Lin Moyu as an adversary. Lin Moyu's karma and fortune simply couldn't be measured. He let go of all past resentment. Smiling, he replied, "Thank you, Taoist Lin." Lin Moyu smiled back. "I only gave the push. It was your deep foundation that made success." The ancestor shook his head. No, my temperament may be poor, but I know my limits. Without you, 10 million years would not have sufficed." He couldn't help asking, "What method did you use?" Clearly, it wasn't just wine. Something hidden lay within. Lin Moyu smiled. "That's a secret. Now that senior has succeeded, my promise is fulfilled, so I'll take my leave." The ancestor didn't try to keep him. "Then I wish you success. If you ever need anything, call for me, I'll come at once." As he spoke, a blue wolf hair flew out and became a short blue sword in the void, an artifact that Lin Moyu could summon the ancestor with, wherever, whenever. With Kuei's supreme power, a journey across realms was no challenge. Lin Moyu accepted the sword readily. "There's one thing, senior, that I'd like to say, though I'm not sure it's my place." "Please speak," said the ancestor. Respectfully, he no longer regarded Lin Moyu as an ordinary cultivator, but as a supreme in waiting. Lin Moyu said, "Senior, you really shouldn't wear a blue robe." The ancestor blinked in surprise. "Why?" Lin Moyu answered, "There's someone who loves wearing a blue robe, and I find him most annoying. Whenever I see a blue robe, I feel like fighting." The ancestor laughed awkwardly. "If someone annoys you, just let me deal with them for you." Lin Moyu replied, "He's probably a supreme. It's fine. I'll handle it myself." With that, he summoned Xiaopeng, boarded, and sped away in a flash of gold. The ancestor watched him vanish, musing that among the 8 supremes, only one favored blue robes. He smiled wryly, knowing if he dared confront that one, he'd be the one taught a lesson. He turned to his subordinates. "It's done. Everyone go back. There will be no more Silverlight Rabbit Clan." "Yes, sir." All answered and departed, the ancestor stepping away to consolidate his new strength. A golden streak sliced through the void. Xiaopeng's speed neared the limits of perfection. If not for his lack of domain, he'd be eligible now to challenge perfection. but with pure speed, he even surpassed most. Xiaopeng asked, "Father, why did you help the guy reach Quasi Supreme?" Lin Moyu replied, "Can't you figure it out?" Xiaopeng shook his head, "Not really. With your strength, you could just kill him." Lin Moyu chuckled, "Not every problem needs fighting. He has lived long and built up a vast network of karma, friends, brothers and kin, many with significant achievements. If I killed him, I'd sow massive bad karma, and while I'm not afraid, it's messy. My enemy isn't him. Too much bad karma creates trouble, so I prefer to cultivate positive ties. Even unexpected changes can be turned to my advantage." Xiaopeng nodded, not really understanding but following along. Lin Moyu's life is deeply tied to karma. He can't fully see through it yet, but understands it better than most. He isn't afraid of karma, but avoids troublesome entanglements. This time, helping Tianlang ancestor wasn't solely for karma, there were deeper reasons. He used Tianlang as a test subject for Primordial Kai to see what it could do. If successful, it could be used for others. If not, and something went wrong, Tianlang would be the first to suffer. Strictly speaking, Tianlang ancestor was Lin Moyu's experiment, but that he'd never admit. On the whole, it worked well. Primordial Kai proved useful for his allies, as expected. Little Tree and Chaos Child have already used Primordial Kai, but its benefits to Lin Moyu himself are much reduced. He'll wait until they're fully recovered before exposing them to more. Xiaopeng, however, is a good candidate. Back in the day, Golden Winged Peng was a peak being, as strong as any supreme, and his power wasn't limited by domains. You now have his blood. You could reach his past heights. Though Chaos's rules have changed, you'll be limited by domains, and the path is harder now. But if I use Primordial Kai, you might leap past the Chaos restriction and regain Golden Winged Peng's strength, even without a domain. But Primordial Kai is risky. Do you want to try? Xiaopeng already nodded eagerly. I do. I want it more than anything. Chapter 4467, Maturity alone is not enough. The bloodline of the Golden Winged Peng was changing Xiaopeng, and his mindset had shifted from before. Once, everything Xiaopeng strove for was to break the bloodline curse left by a supreme. After awakening the Golden Winged Peng bloodline and breaking the curse, he initially wanted to help his kin do the same. But as time passed, that idea faded and eventually disappeared. Xiaopeng had changed species from a Chaos Lone Peng to the Golden Winged Peng. The Chaos Lone Peng, despite the word lone, wasn't few in number. Their kin were united by blood, hardly alone. But the Golden Winged Peng is truly solitary. There was only ever one, and would only ever be one. His soul had shifted. He no longer thought of helping the Lone Peng unless it was particularly convenient. Now his greatest wish was to become stronger, especially after spending time with Little Tree and Chaos Child and seeing their past might. Becoming their equal became Xiaopeng's highest aspiration. When Lin Moyu offered him Primordial Kai, Xiaopeng immediately accepted. Since Xiaopeng agreed, Lin Moyu took out the ferry boat in place of Xiaopeng, then took out a wisp of Primordial Kai. Xiaopeng's realm was nowhere near Tianlang ancestor. Even as a rare mutant, low realm is low realm. Too much Primordial Kai would not help and could be dangerous. Lin Moyu decided to administer it bit by bit, prioritizing safety. Xiaopeng understood and absorbed a wisp of Primordial Kai. The moment it exploded in his body, golden rays shot out, illuminating the ferry boat, and some light broke through to the outside, creating a golden radiance in the chaos outside. The ferry boat sped onward, trailing gold behind it. With Primordial Kai, Xiaopeng's anomaly flourished. His body swelled quickly until he nearly exploded. But at the limit, a new bloodline force awoke, helping him absorb the excess energy and avoid destruction. His soul underwent similar growth. Little Tree said, No wonder the golden-winged Peng's bloodline is truly tough. Chaos Child agreed. The golden-winged Peng once absorbed primordial Kai before. Its blood remembers it shouldn't be a problem. Both agreed. As long as Zyro Peng didn't take too much at once, he could bear it. Ancient standards don't care for realm, only power matters. As long as Zyro Peng's bloodline kept awakening, his power would keep climbing, eventually surpassing perfection to rival supremes. Lin Moyu had mountains of primordial Kai. As long as Zyro Peng could take it, there was no limit. With this, Zyro Peng could even surpass the original golden-winged Peng. Little Tree and Chaos Child frankly envied him. If only they could absorb more primordial Kai. But for now, all they could do was wait and slowly recover. Once sure Zyro Peng was stable, Lin Moyu turned his attention to his storage space. He hadn't given it a new name. It had been called Storage Space since becoming a professional, and he'd just gotten used to it. If it ever became another Chaos, he'll name it, then the name is just a label. Primordial Kai streamed through the storage space, emanating from the gate opened by the key in a constant flood. The space was still expanding and apparently limitless. The Grand World and the Lore World now occupied their own region in storage. Lin Moyu had allotted areas without any primordial Kai. The Silverlight Rabbit clan also had their own area with no primordial Kai. The difference, the rabbits' area allowed them to see and sense primordial Kai overhead, but not receive any. The four elders and a few high completion rabbits stared upward at the Kai. They longed for it, but didn't show greed, just deep yearning, as years of timidity had dulled greed from their hearts. What others gave, they accepted. What was withheld, they didn't dare desire. It was always thus. Lin Moyu's projection appeared in the azure silver grassland, meeting the four elders. All is settled. Tianlang ancestor will never trouble you again. The elders' eyes lit up with joy. Sir Lin, does that mean we are free? Seeking flowers. Lin Moyu shook his head. Not yet, not until you finish your work for me. They recalled his earlier condition. Freedom came only after helping Lin Moyu. Though timid, the rabbits weren't stupid. They well understood Lin Moyu could have destroyed them just as easily. The chief elder lowered himself. Please instruct us, Sir Lin. Lin Moyu said, it's simple. I have several domains. You'll help me cultivate them. I'll provide all materials. Domain cultivation was their forte, not damaging, only laborious. In the past, they were used as tools. It felt miserable. Now, though still a tool, the outcome was different. Once done, Lin Moyu would grant them a separate world to live as they wished, with no restriction. That was all they truly wanted. It was perfection for them. The chief elder promised, don't worry, Sir Lin, we four elders will cultivate your domains with all our skill. Each rabbit's rank changes the quality of domain cultivated. The four perfection elders could produce the very best, and though there were only four, Lin Moyu was content to sacrifice speed for quality. He nodded, good, complete the work, and you'll have freedom and a share of primordial Kai. The elders now knew what primordial Kai was. They only sensed it as precious treasure. How many domains, sir? The chief elder asked. 9 or 10, no more than that, Lin Moyu answered. The elder agreed. With sufficient materials, a single domain takes 1,000 to 10,000 years to mature. 1,000 years is short for a domain. Mature means it can bring a cultivator to perfection. But I want more than maturity. I want a perfect domain, and I want you to compress the domain's force as well. Chapter 4468, Lin Moyu's Delusions. Lin Moyu's words left the four elders deep in thought for a long while. He didn't disturb them, because their faces alone revealed that what he proposed was not impossible. This plan originated in a conversation with Wine Lord and took real root after the transformation of the storage space. What started as a fanciful notion became a real hope for Lin Moyu, and after encountering the Silverlight rabbits, seemed feasible. That's why he had to obtain the whole Silverlight rabbit race, not as undead servants, but as living beings. Otherwise, the true realization of his idea would be impossible, or, at best, much less likely. To make this dream a reality, he was prepared to kill the Tianlang ancestor or even fall out with Supreme Xingqian if it came to that. This idea was compressing domain power. Wine Lord once explained that to become a supreme, the foundational requirement was a perfect domain with 5 times compression. There were 2 conditions. First, having a perfect domain, which already blocked many perfections. Second, achieving 5-fold compression was even harder. Even an elite like Wine Lord, just below Supreme and Quasi-Supreme, improved his domain to perfect, but only managed 4-fold compression. According to him, this was due to an insufficient base. He made his domain perfect only after reaching perfection. That constrained him, so after 4-fold compression, he hit his limit. It was also related to having only 4 ascensions on his path to Chaos Realm. Whether path or timing, both closed the door to becoming a supreme, so he could only aim for Quasi-Supreme. Lin Moyu, with 10 ascensions, already has a peerless foundation. Furthermore, he possesses multiple domains. If he could perfect all of them before perfection and fuse them afterwards, a multi-compressed power core would result, sufficient to make a bid for Supreme. But even Supreme isn't his true ambition. Supremes are simply not enough. If that's all, what was the point of 10 ascensions? Catastrophe Supreme made 9 ascensions, became the strongest of the Supremes, and still fell in the end. Lin Moyu must break past the limits of Catastrophe Supreme to have any hope of victory. He now had 9 domains, 5 realms, Grand World, Law World, Spirit Mist Domain, and the realms of 4, 3, 2, 1, plus Virtual Sky. He needed one more, which he believed he could find. It was not hard to locate, just hard to cultivate. Luckily, now he had the Silverlight rabbits. Cultivate each domain to perfection, then compress their power 1 or more times. Fusing them afterward wouldn't mean just 4-fold compression, but perhaps 3 times at least per 2 merged. Merging and compressing 10 domains could, in theory, create the equivalent of a 20 times compressed perfect domain. With 10 ascensions, Lin Moyu believed he could surpass the Supreme threshold and go to realms beyond Catastrophe Supreme. Then, even if he could not reach Tao itself, he could be close, and by wielding the Catastrophe Staff, stand a real chance in the final clash. At last, the elders concluded their consultation. Their glances betrayed careful, unspoken debate. Finally, the chief elder spoke. What Lin Sir asks is difficult. Perfecting a domain can be done with some rare materials. We've managed it before. But to double a perfect domain's power, the 4 of us fall short. Lin Moyu's eyebrows lifted slightly. Falling short is not failure. State your conditions, whatever you need, I'll manage. The chief elder replied, once, Tianlang ancestor had us help someone cultivate a perfect domain and asked us to compress its power. The 4 of us tried and failed, almost being punished but spared later. We do have the technique, but a perfect domain is so powerful 4 of us aren't enough. If there were 8, our success rate would be over 50%. But we also need some extremely rare materials that are hard to find. How about 16? Lin Moyu asked. If 4 is not enough, perhaps with more it becomes possible. The elders exchanged another round of glances and communication, incomprehensible to Lin Moyu, before answering. With 8, there's a 50% chance. 12 gives 70%, 16 gives 80, Mori won't help, it's the limit. 80% sufficed, and if they failed, they could just try again. The worst that could happen was wasting some materials, but if it actually worked, the benefits would be beyond imagination. Now the problem was how to get more Silverlight rabbits to perfection. Only perfection's Silverlight rabbits could cultivate a perfect domain and compress its power. Lin Moyu tossed 4 jade tokens to the elders. Write down your detailed cultivation methods, the more detailed the better. I'll try to help your people reach perfection. Let's see how many we can get. The 4 received the tokens, staring in amazement, big rabbit eyes blinking in disbelief. Lin Moyu asked, "Don't believe me?" The chief elder hurriedly shook his head. "No, it's not that we just need a domain to reach perfection, and that requires a domain to cultivate." Lin Moyu cut him off. "Don't worry about that, just do as I ask, I have my ways." At this point, the 4 had no choice but to believe. Lin Moyu's ability and this place were too mysterious to doubt. They wrote down every detail of Silverlight rabbit cultivation and bloodline arts on the jade tokens. Lin Moyu put them away. "I'll handle the rest. For now, start cultivating my 2 domains." Boom! A crash of thunder echoed. Someone was attacking the ferry boat. The force was great enough to make it lurch wildly through the chaos. The elders were flustered. What happened? Lin Moyu shook his head. "It's nothing. Don't worry, I'm opening the passage to those 2 domains. The materials are waiting on the other side, and my avatar is there to supervise. Focus on cultivation. Contact me if there's a problem." Chapter 4469, Prison of Time and Space. The ferry boat kept coming under attack. Its structure was incredibly tough. Though it was battered and sent zipping erratically, it suffered no real damage. Lin Moyu was in no hurry. He'd experienced this countless times along the ancient wilderness road and was quite used to it. From the way the opponent attacked, Lin Moyu could already judge their power. A top-tier perfection in the Chaos realm, even stronger than Tianlang Ancestor had been. Inside the storage space, Lin Moyu opened the passage, connecting the azure silver grassland to the Grand World and the Law World, and took out all the materials and treasures he currently owned. Piles of materials and artifacts of all grades and types rose into little mountains. Some were provided by the Central Domain's God Alliance, meant for repairing great teleportation formations, but he had only used a small portion. Others were spoils taken from adversaries he'd killed. Much of their wealth was now his. Others still were collections from earlier epochs, not high grade, but still usable. Lin Moyu nearly cleaned out his stockpile so the Silverlight Rabbit elders could get to work. He would search for more materials later. The 4 elders immediately got started. After crossing the passage, they arrived in the Grand World and began their enchantments. Their method was extraordinary. It barely seemed to do anything at first, but winds began sweeping silently across the world, gradually strengthening its foundation. Meanwhile, the prepared materials were slowly breaking down. No matter how high grade, no artifact could resist this method. The only difference was that stronger materials took longer to dissolve. "Incredible," Lin Moyu muttered. He saw that, aside from domain cultivation, their sorcery could destroy other people's treasures in battle. Any weapon would eventually break. Terrifying. As he watched the domains grow stronger, Lin Moyu left the storage space. He sent his awareness out from the ferry boat and saw the attackers, a top-tier perfection he'd never met before. Why attack for no reason? Then 2 more soul flames burned nearby, 2 other top perfection chaos cultivators. 3 against 1, what could they want? After a moment's thought, Lin Moyu realized their aim was his ability to help others become quasi-supreme, as he did for Tianlang Ancestor. They must have caught wind of this and come to demand it. But rationally, they should have tried to negotiate, not attacked outright. Why such aggression? Something else was at play. Lin Moyu, always someone who plans before acting, pondered all the possibilities before devising a solution. These 3 perfection experts attacking him directly made no sense unless they were guided by some unseen cause. Just then, Little Tree's voice sounded. "Master, someone is interfering with time and space." Though Little Tree's soul wasn't as sharp as Lin Moyu, His control of time and space was unmatched. His perceptions here were keener. At Little Tree's warning, Lin Moyu checked his undead eye. The three soul flames moved in orderly fashion, but no sign of time-space tampering. There had to be a fourth attacker, hidden in another timeline, escaping both the undead eye and Lin Moyu's senses. Lin Moyu asked, "What's he doing with time-space?" Little Tree shook his head. "I can't tell. He's concealing himself well." "Force him out," Lin Moyu ordered. Little Tree nodded, sending forth myriad roots, piercing the veil of reality and space-time. Little Tree searched through the infinite layers of time and space. A daunting quest. There were endless layers, and even he couldn't guarantee success. He pierced one moment after another, traversing the epochs, searching for the hidden foe. Rifts tore across the void as Little Tree's attacks destabilized time and brought distant time nodes into the present moment. No matter how deep, all events in time-space would eventually echo back to the now, and anything hidden would ultimately erupt into reality. Finally, Little Tree gave a shout, "Found him." His roots lashed like whips, filling the air with phantom streaks as space and time fractured. Boom! A shadow burst out from the ruined void, its soul flame vast and cold. Lin Moyu's brow furrowed, quasi-supreme. But a moment later he shook his head. No, not quasi-supreme, but closer than perfection. This creature's soul flames were strange, stronger than a perfection, weaker than a quasi-supreme, but radiating power beyond Chaos Realm standards. He must have failed a quasi-supreme breakthrough, stuck between perfection and quasi-supreme. His soul showed signs of damage. A repeat breakthrough would be difficult, but he was clearly far above normal perfection. Lin Moyu instantly deduced the plan. The three other perfection experts must have been his instruments. This failed quasi-supreme, seeing Lin Moyu help Tianlang Ancestor, figured he'd get the same assistance. Yet instead of negotiating, he'd chosen violence. It simply made no sense. If he truly looked down on Lin Moyu, even after seeing the Tianlang breakthrough, there must be deeper abnormality. Little Tree, still tearing at the time-space, finally drove the foe into the open. As he crossed into reality, the enemy let out a thunderous roar. His body ballooned, rapidly growing into a massive serpent 1,000,000 miles long. Then he shrank, reduced by 100-fold, down to 10,000 miles, then swelled up past 1,000,000 again. He kept growing and shrinking, unable to stabilize. His soul flame wavered, and it was clear he was losing control. Little Tree said, "His body's fractured. Once he leaves the time-space, he loses control." Lin Moyu grinned, probably an after-effect of failing his breakthrough. He can't stay in normal time-space and has to keep shifting timelines. Little Tree agreed. Yes, he exudes time-space power. He must be skilled in that Tao. Lin Moyu's voice rang from the ferry boat. "Senior, do you really want to fight?" The serpent roared, "Time-space prison." A rain of scales shattered. In an instant, the timelines twisted and the ferry boat was dragged into another layer of reality. Chapter 4470, The Three-Headed Python Reincarnation. The ferry boat vanished from real space and entered another layer of time-space. This layer was created by the giant serpent. Even Little Tree, for a time, found it difficult to break through. Lin Moyu didn't order Little Tree to act since, with the ferry boat, even a quasi-supreme would struggle to harm him, let alone this failed quasi-supreme. He must have suffered some soul damage and lost control of his Tao heart, Lin Moyu thought. From the serpent's eyes, he saw madness unusual for life forms from the West Pole, who tend to be cold and calm. Even Tianlang Ancestor's temper was terrible, but madness wasn't his nature. This serpent, however, burned with frenzy. Sanity was present but easily overwhelmed. In this time-space prison, that madness subsided, and he could finally stabilize his form, a change that confirmed Lin Moyu's suspicions. With his arrival, the three perfection strongmen appeared as well. Lin Moyu immediately sensed something off. Their eyes were empty like soulless puppets. Were they controlled, or just inherently abnormal? He stayed inside the ferry boat, not confronting directly. This serpent felt truly dangerous. Kill! The three perfection experts attacked the ferry boat with savage blows. Fortunately, the ferry boat was sturdy, and no matter the attack, it remained safe. The harder they tried, the more obvious something was wrong. These perfections were all stronger than Tianlang ancestor had been, but utterly vacant, nothing like a true perfection's spirit. Yet their souls betrayed no obvious manipulation. Lin Moyu mused, there's definitely a problem with these three. Little Tree agreed, something is wrong. Best not to leave the boat. I sense that serpent is very dangerous. Then Chaos Child cried out, I think I know what this creature is. Lin Moyu, do tell. Little Tree, what do you know? Chaos Child, remember in our time the three-headed python? Little Tree nodded, I recall it was said he died long ago. Chaos Child, maybe not completely. His left and right heads controlled time, space, and soul, but no one knew what the third did. Rumor had it, the third head was for self-destruction and reincarnation. Little Tree, you suspect this serpent is his reincarnation, but now it only has one head. Chaos Child, it's not just reincarnation, he could channel the other two heads, powers into the third, and carry them into the next life. Little Tree said, it's possible. We can check if Yi Yangyan forces him to show a true domain or not. If this really was the reincarnation of the three-headed python, carrying that ancient blood and having absorbed primordial Kai, then he could evade the normal limits of chaos. If he lacked a domain but retained such combat power, that'd be the proof. Chaos Child's tone turned gleeful. If that's him, we are in for a feast. Little Tree, not only us master here could gain a powerful enforcer. If it really was the three-headed python, without a domain, he could be turned into a revived butcher, a nigh unbeatable, a supreme level, time, space, and soul power wielding, restriction-free chaos strongman. A new trump card for Lin Moyu. Yi Yangyan soared from the ferry boat, a surge of quasi-supreme pressure rippled out, scattering the perfection experts. He turned into a fire dragon and charged the serpent, using less than half his power. Due to chaos's suppression, he couldn't use his full might, but even 40% sufficed. The serpent roared, its gaze flaring. Yi Yangyan trembled minutely, but was unaffected. Little Tree muttered, soul control. Chaos Child cheered, it must be him. All could feel the massive soul shock. The serpent had tried to take control of Yi Yangyan's soul. But Yi Yangyan, now one of Lin Moyu, revived, was under total control. He was unaffected. Soul illusion failed. The serpent's time-space power lashed out, aiming to absorb Yi Yangyan, but the fire dragon's onslaught shattered the time-space. Both abilities rendered worthless. The serpent whipped its tail scales, glowing, summoning a phantom in the air. Not a true domain, but a spectral three-headed python. It's him, Chaos Child whooped, practically drooling. Little Tree added, I wonder if he retained his core through reincarnation. If so. The core of the three-headed python held his talents, time, space among them. If Little Tree could absorb it, his own powers would grow. Time-space power is vast, there are infinite combinations, and Little Tree's own mastery is not absolute. Fusing the three-headed python style could compensate for his own limits. Lin Moyu himself had once used time-space in the big world and understood it well, but whether the core was present was luck. Little Tree's eyes were eager, he wanted that core. The phantom three-headed python roared at the sky, sweeping its tail into countless afterimages. Yi Yangyan was flung away, but so was the phantom. It was a tie, even with Yi Yangyan only at 40%. That was enough. Lin Moyu gave a telepathic order, kill the three perfection attackers, ignore the serpent. Yi Yangyan righted himself, and blazing with fire, charged the trio. For Yi Yangyan, killing perfection experts was child's play. That they were the absolute peak made no difference. Unless they escaped immediately, they'd fall. Under the serpent's control, fleeing wasn't an option. They stood and fought, and were quickly overpowered. Meanwhile, the serpent ignored their fate, and instead attacked the ferry boat. Chaos Child laughed. His mind isn't right. Lin Moyu grinned. Agreed. The serpent's storm of time-space power battered the ferry boat, groaning as if about to break. Chapter 4471, Who Cares About Ancient Bloodlines? The time-space strangulation was truly terrifying. The ferry boat was sent into multiple different timelines simultaneously, its body subjected to conflicting forces, as if on the verge of falling apart. If it were any normal perfection-level chaos cultivator, their body and soul would have already been annihilated. But while the ferry boat looked ready to explode, it stubbornly remained intact. In the next instant, Little Tree's roots burst forth, wielding time-space power like a whip. At the same time, a piece of Chaos God soil flew out. With it, a Little Tree avatar rapidly expanded in power. Little Tree used this avatar to harass the three-headed python, not to win, but to keep the serpent from focusing fully on the ferry boat and to buy Lin Moyu time. The second reason was to lock onto the three-headed python and relay his exact location to Lin Moyu. However, Little Tree underestimated the serpent's strength. The moment the avatar appeared, the serpent's eyes flashed. Little Tree's avatar froze, then immediately started attacking the ferry boat itself. Little Tree yelped and swiftly withdrew his avatar and the chunk of God soil, unnerved. That guy's soul control is terrifying. Chaos Child laughed. His soul powers were famously fierce back in the day. Nobody could resist him. Had he not met his end by that one, he'd not have died so soon. Little Tree shook his head. He died in the ancient wilderness. I never knew who finished him. Chaos Child glanced at Zyropeng. That be this fellow here. Zyropeng stared at them, baffled. Me. Chaos Child clarified. Not you, golden-winged Peng. His speed was unmatched. Before the python could use soul control, his head was already cut off. Little Tree nodded. True enough. The Peng's speed surpassed most space talents, nearly impossible to defend. But what now? My avatar can't get out. Chaos Child turned to Zyropeng. Shall we let him try? Zyropeng hurriedly shook his head. I'm still too young. I can't do it. He was only at great completion now, moving toward perfection thanks to recent absorption of primordial Kai, but still far from a match for the three-headed python. Chaos Child pressed. You won't know unless you try. Zyropeng insisted. No, I definitely can't. Chaos Child sighed. Then what now? If Yi Yangyan could use his full power, he'd easily suppress the three-headed python, but with only 40% available, at best, he could manage a draw and time would be against him. Lin Moyu said, let me handle this. Little Tree objected. His soul control is too strong, master, even your soul. He left the last bit unspoken. Even Lin Moyu might not be able to resist the serpent's control. Lin Moyu replied, don't worry, I have a little trick. He planned to use the Karma Ring to sidestep the soul control altogether, and he had another secret up his sleeve. He summoned the Catastrophe Staff. Haven't used you in a while, don't disappoint me. All 5 gems on the staff gleamed, each one bearing distinct powers. Ever since entering Chaos, Lin Moyu rarely used the staff. Its power was subtly masked 5th level, invisible to Dao, but prudence was wise, and he didn't like relying on tools unless needed. Besides, he didn't want to kill the three-headed python, only to use the soul gem's power. Channeling his soul force into the staff, Lin Moyu activated the soul gem. An ochre glow bathed his spirit like armor. He didn't act immediately. He waited for Yi Yangyan to finish the 3 perfection enemies first. Even as the ferry boat creaked under the python's time-space assault, Lin Moyu just waited calmly. Kill. The serpent kept raging, losing control as it failed to defeat Lin Moyu, growing more and more manic until reason nearly vanished. Lin Moyu waited patiently. After half an hour, engulfed in Yi Yangyan's flames, the three perfection cultivators finally perished. Even until death, puppeted by soul control, not one tried to run. Their domains shattered, countless beings perished, massive karma split three ways. The greatest piece fell to the python, who controlled them. Lin Moyu took the remainder, but the faith of his own domains shielded him from most of it, one of the many advantages of domain mastery. Having many domains, Lin Moyu had a bottomless well of faith. Once the three were killed, Yi Yangyan turned on the python. But the python's soul control had no effect on Yi Yangyan, nor could its time-space powers do more than equal him. At that, Lin Moyu finally left the ferry boat, becoming a giant, channeling the fist of the Power Lord, raining down blows. The python's gaze flashed, soul powers crashing in, but Lin Moyu's ochre soul shield flickered and blocked all influence. The catastrophe staff had never let him down. This time, again, his defenses held. Ascend! Lin Moyu's cultivation surged to great completion. His flesh sparkled with power, soul force braided through every strike. The time-space cage shuddered with each punch, close to fragments. Lin Moyu's fist strength now rivaled peak perfection. He could genuinely harm the three-headed python. Together with Yi Yangyan, they drove the serpent back, scales shattering, flesh splitting. If it continued, the python would soon lose. The serpent thundered in rage, its tail whipping Lin Moyu and Yi Yangyan away repeatedly, yet it could not escape. Not even a quasi-supreme, you haven't fully escaped Chaos Realm. Lin Moyu's tone was disparaging as he attacked even harder. The visceral thud of his fists, scales and blood flying, was immensely satisfying. He collected every shred of flesh, precious material, not to be wasted. Suddenly, a phantom appeared behind the python, growing solid, as if resurrecting the primordial three-headed python. The time-space power multiplied. One blow forced Yi Yangyan back, wounds opening, while Lin Moyu's giant form was torn apart, thrown back with a grunt. Little Tree warned, "Master, he's awakened his primordial blood, get ready." Lin Moyu scoffed, "He has no chance." He pointed at the three perfection corpses, and with a thought, reduced them to powder. Booms, booms, booms. Three huge blasts struck the python, forcing it back to its true form. Primordial bloodline, spare him. Chapter 4472, Destiny's Arrangement. Who cares what ancient bloodline, it is, just blow it up. As long as the force is strong enough, nothing can survive. If Lin Moyu could use Dao's corpse as material, he felt he might just blow up all of chaos. The explosion was mixed with howls of agony as the three-headed python's reincarnation was blown to pieces. The attempt to summon its ancient bloodline was cut off, leaving only a shattered snake barely alive. Corpse explosion doesn't just shatter the body, it explodes the soul too. After the explosion, Yi Yangyan stepped forward to finish the job. The three-headed python struggled to escape. The time-space prison was breaking down, swiftly returning them to reality. In the real world, the python's body began to change again, its soul thrown into madness as well. With a final roar, Lin Moyu drew out the soul-sundering needle and stabbed the spirit. The needle flashed and punched into its soul. The needle's power was limited enough to injure, but rarely useful. This time, though, it became the last straw. Next came world-scorching flames, one after another, burning through its soul. Lin Moyu wanted to be sure it died, so he kept pushing. At the same time, undead thralls surrounded the void, and Little Tree's roots rose up, stirring a tsunami of time-space power to cut off all hope of escape. The wailing grew weaker and weaker until it ceased altogether. This ancient, reincarnated three-headed python was finally dead. He would never return to his former glory, never again stand at the world's peak. In truth, Lin Moyu knew he could never rise again had he somehow made it back to his prime. Dao would have come for him eventually, and he'd still have perished. Almost all top ancient powerhouses were Dao enemies. With a thought, Lin Moyu let his undead swarm in and dissembled the corpse. Soon, a glowing blue core was found. Little Tree cheered, "There really is a core." Chaos Child snorted. He certainly carried it through reincarnation, or he'd never have reached this level. Lin Moyu handed the core to Little Tree. "Take what you need." Little Tree said, "All I want is the time-space talent inside soul control. Isn't much use to me." Lin Moyu smiled. "It won't go to waste. I'll turn him into a revenant, and though the time-space talent will be lost, that soul power is still potent. Eat the extra flesh. If you want, just save some for me." Chaos Child whooped with glee and began devouring the python's flesh, praising Lin Moyu all the while. Little Tree ate some as well, but his main focus was absorbing the core, merging its time-space gift with his own powers to grow even stronger. According to Little Tree, previously, his time-space power did piercing, but the three-headed python was about carving out independent pockets in time-space and using those to crush enemies. Now Little Tree could do both, and his abilities grew much sharper. Lin Moyu set undying flames upon the remaining flesh. The void shook, the flesh slowly reorganized, and soon the soul began to regenerate as well. Because there was no domain, and not quite a quasi-supreme, Lin Moyu believed the process should work. Yi Yangyan stood guard, pure water at the ready, any mishap could be handled. The flames burned steadily. The python must have been enormously powerful, as rebirth was incredibly slow. Lin Moyu was not worried. He had revived Yi Yangyan before and knew this required patience. Gradually, the outline of the three-headed python reformed inside the undying fire, first the flesh, then the soul. Everything went smoothly. Lin Moyu carefully monitored the soul's gradual reformation, up to the very peak of perfection. And there it stopped. There was no more growth beyond peak perfection. The flames went out on their own and returned to Lin Moyu, marking the completion of rebirth. The new three-headed python bowed before him, more than 1,000,000 miles of massive coils in space, with Lin Moyu standing before it like dust. Lin Moyu inspected the change. As a revenant, the python showed no trace of resistance or rebellion, and its cultivation remained at peak perfection. Not beyond such a state should never exist. Lin Moyu asked, "What's your name? What happened to your soul before? Why attack me?" The python replied, "I'm Spacetime Soul Python. Before, I tried to break through to Quasi-Supreme, but failed at the last moment. It wasn't that I couldn't succeed at the very end. I sensed I'd die if I did. So I chose to stop, but suffered lasting damage, unable to stay in real-time space. If I did, my soul would go mad, and I'd lose control of my body, even to the point of self-destruction. Only by drifting through various layers of time-space, using time-space gifts to suppress the after-effects, could I keep myself balanced. At the same time, my soul became easily angered. My mind was gone, and I only did the simplest things." He explained that the three perfection experts had been under his soul control for a long time. He could only manage 3. His ability wasn't as limitless as others feared. When Tianlang Ancestor achieved Quasi-Supreme, Spacetime Soul Python sensed it. He saw Lin Moyu through the fabric of time and instantly knew, by instinct, that Lin Moyu could cure him. But deprived of rational thought, out of habit, he assumed that if he just controlled Lin Moyu, he could make him fix it by force. So he sent his thralls to attack, which brought everything to this conclusion. After hearing the tale, Lin Moyu had to laugh. It was as if fate itself had arranged all of this. But as a revenant, the after effect was indeed cured. That animal instinct had not lied. And Lin Moyu had gained a fine new enforcer, one able to match any top-tier perfection opponent. Chapter 4473, a way to evade Tao. For the new revenant, Lin Moyu's first command was to surrender all his possessions. As the reincarnation of the three-headed python, he had lived countless ages, from ignorance to immense power, amassing vast wealth, all of which now passed into Lin Moyu's hands. Spacetime Soul Python could no longer justify that name. Little Tree had drained all the core's original spacetime talent, and even as a revenant, it could not regenerate. According to Little Tree, such a core is unique and non-innate. Once depleted, it is gone for good. The three-headed python's core had possessed three talents: spacetime, soul control, and dissolution reincarnation. After being slain by golden-winged Peng, the reincarnation power saved the python's life, but the core never recovered the same. Now spacetime talent is gone too, leaving only soul control, and his combat power dropped sharply. To Lin Moyu, the python was now a single-headed entity, with only one talent left. The rest was destiny. He didn't believe in fate, but accepted that destiny existed as a rule. All creation, from the mightiest to the smallest, was subject to it, even Tao. Yet self-aware beings can disrupt and change fate. This is defying heaven and rewriting destiny. Lin Moyu intended just that, to grow strong enough to master the rules. From the python, Lin Moyu gained many materials, some quite valuable, enough to keep the 4 Silverlight Rabbit elders busy for a while cultivating the grand world. Perfecting a domain is possible for any perfection-ranked Silverlight Rabbit, though the more workers, the faster it is done. But compressing domain power, as Lin Moyu planned, required sufficient numbers. Returning to the ferry boat, he continued toward the central domain. A few more days, and he would reach the first teleportation array for rapid travel. He needed to find the great teleportation array between West Pole and Central Domain, take control of it, and make it one of the 12 arrays for the Catastrophe Supreme's plan. All must be mastered to succeed. Meanwhile, Zyro Peng kept absorbing and refining Primordial Kai, with Lin Moyu providing it steadily. His power improved rapidly. Primordial Kai activated his ancient golden-winged Peng bloodline, allowing Zyro Peng to bypass domain restrictions and achieve perfection. Then surpass it. Even so, he feared chaos. Reaching his true peak, Tao would come to destroy him. To reach his peak safely, Zyro Peng had to go to ancient wilderness, away from chaos. There his peak could safely return, but he could never come back to chaos, or it would mean death. Little Tree and Chaos Child faced the same dilemma. Lin Moyu had not known how to solve this before. His soul world was not enough to shield them from Tao's scrutiny. Not even hiding deep in a domain would suffice. Only by leaving chaos, going into ancient wilderness, could they avoid notice. Now Lin Moyu had a new idea: bring them into his storage space. His storage space was like a second chaos. Fully linked to his soul world, he could let them help whenever needed. Moreover, paired with Sky Jellyfish's cleansing ability, there was a chance Little Tree and Chaos Child could act in chaos, as long as they didn't go all out, without Tao noticing. Tao isn't omniscient. With enough forethought, ways to avoid detection can always be found. The ferry boat raced onward. Lin Moyu entered his storage space and headed for Azure Silver Grassland. The 4 elders weren't there. Lin Moyu went straight to Yinda, who was currently in charge of tribal affairs. Faced with Lin Moyu, Yinda bowed respectfully in the Silverlight Rabbit tradition, huge body flat on the ground, long ears pressed low, drumming the earth. Yinda knew exactly what Lin Moyu wanted. The task was no hardship, and he treated Lin Moyu with sincere gratitude. Yinda changed to human form. The massive rabbit shrank, taking on a human appearance, but the ears remained unmistakable. In human form, Yinda saluted Lin Moyu with a human gesture. "How may I serve, Sir Lin?" Lin Moyu laid out the matter. "For what I discussed with your elders doing, as I wish requires more perfection-level rabbits. 4 is not enough." Yin De's eyes brightened. Lin Moyu wanted to cultivate more perfection-level tribesmen. How many perfections do you currently have, including yourself? Yin De counted, including me, 28. How many do you want, sir? 12, said Lin Moyu. Yin De's eyes widened, shocked at the number. That's a lot, the resources needed. 12 perfections, each requiring a domain, each domain maturing. Even though his people had the talent to find and cultivate domains, it wasn't easy. When searching for the grand world, it had taken him many years. Lin Moyu said, I have a method. If it works, no domain is needed for perfection. Yin De was stunned. Is that even possible? Lin Moyu's claim defied all known rules. Reaching perfection without a domain was unheard of. But seeing how much Lin Moyu had accomplished, Yin De couldn't help but believe. Lin Moyu said, let me test it on you first, would you be willing? Yin De didn't hesitate. Yes, yes. Timid or not, he recognized good fortune when offered. This was not to be refused. Excellent, let's try. Lin Moyu summoned a wisp of primordial Kai for Yin De. Absorb and refine this. Until now, primordial Kai had hovered out of reach, tantalizing, but now he could claim it. Without a thought for danger, Yin De sucked it into his body and began refining. Lin Moyu gave him only a little less than what he gave Zyro Peng to be safe. Yin De sat cross-legged in human form, silver light blazing as his power climbed. At the same time, Lin Moyu set about changing the rules. Chapter 4474, Cultivating Perfection-Level Experts. Primordial Kai can strengthen one's foundation, and with enough foundation, the upper limit of power naturally rises. At the same time, Primordial Kai can change some rules. When used on ancient bloodline life forms, it can make them stronger. However, Primordial Kai cannot directly help ordinary chaos beings bypass the rules of chaos. To break through to perfection, they still need a domain. Except for rare ancient bloodlines, like Zyro Peng, their birth from heaven and earth means they never needed domains. So Zyro Peng only needs to fully awaken his golden-winged Peng bloodline to ignore domain constraints and grow in strength. But the Silverlight rabbits do not have ancient bloodlines. Even with Primordial Kai, they cannot bypass the domain requirement. Lin Moyu knew this rule well. However, in their current situation, they were not in chaos proper, but inside his own storage space, which serves as a parallel chaos where he can set the rules. Unlike Chaos Child's internal realm, which is partially reliant on ancient wilderness and not fully independent, Lin Moyu's storage space is fundamentally separate. Now, all living beings nurtured inside his storage space do not need domains to reach their peaks. Lin Moyu altered the rules within the Azure Silver Grasslands area, abandoning the domain requirement. As long as their power is sufficient, they can reach perfection. To be precise, this would be equivalent to peak chaos cultivation. Without the rules, boundaries became blurred. Yin De's energy started shifting in strange ways. His power kept climbing, his cultivation increasingly indistinct at first. It seemed he was still at great completion, but on closer inspection, he was advancing far beyond. Lin Moyu, looking through Yin De's soul, saw that he was progressing toward peak chaos cultivation in the traditional sense. Moreover, Primordial Kai was solidifying his foundation further, raising his future ceiling. Soon, Yin De's body erupted with thunder as his blood surged like tidal waves. His essence burst forth and formed a pillar of blood that shot skyward, strengthened with the help of Primordial Kai. The Silverlight rabbits, being kin, felt the change immediately. The lower-ranked felt little, but those at Chaos Cultivation noticed their bloodline and personal power increasing. What's happening? The Chief Elder returned, being the strongest Chaos Cultivator among the Silverlight rabbits, and felt this most intensely. He sensed his own strength leap, not just in force, but also in skill. After tracing the source of his bloodline change, he found Yin De as well as Lin Moyu. He understood just days ago Lin Moyu had spoken about cultivating more perfection-level rabbits. He had not expected such rapid results or such an unusual method. Lin Moyu said, "I'm trying a new approach to see if we can skip the domain requirement and promote Yin De directly to perfection. If it works, then more can follow without finding domains." The chief elder was knowledgeable. "I've heard that in the ancient wilderness, some strong beings can rival perfection even without domains. Is this what you're doing, Lin, sir?" Lin Moyu laughed and shook his head. "Not quite. I won't explain the specifics, but so far it seems to work and is all benefit, no harm. However, there is a drawback. You can't leave this space. If you return to chaos, the chaos rules will crush your cultivation, reverting you to great completion at best." The chief elder replied without hesitation, "Our tribe holds no worldly ambitions. If Lin Sir gives us a safe haven, we don't mind leaving chaos behind." Lin Moyu agreed, "Of course, I'll allocate a territory for you, but you should interact with others sometimes. I'll handle these matters. I can't promise everything, but absolute freedom is assured." The chief elder bowed deeply and departed to continue cultivating Lin Moyu's domains. The bloodline change made his art stronger and sped up domain cultivation, saving much precious time. Lin Moyu monitored Yin De's progress, providing primordial Kai as needed. He didn't require Yin De to reach Zyro Peng's level, just enough for peak chaos cultivation. After several days, Yin De's aura stabilized and stopped rising. Lin Moyu knew the process had reached its limit. The Silverlight Rabbit tribe, being rather weak, had a fairly low maximum limit. To raise that, long years and major opportunities would be required. Yin De now radiated the strength and soul of peak chaos cultivation. In the storage space, cultivator rank is blurred, but that doesn't matter. Lin Moyu knew it was sufficient. Yin De woke up, ready to speak, but Lin Moyu said first, "Focus on consolidating your strength. Get used to it, and then pick 11 accomplished, bright, and promising clan members. I'll return soon." Yin De nodded happily. "Yes, Lin Sir." "Good." Leaving the storage space, Lin Moyu felt at ease. With enough materials, his wild idea might actually succeed. If it works, he'll be the first since ancient times to accomplish such a feat. The ferry boat stopped in the void, not far from a teleportation array, surrounded by cultivators. Some were practicing nearby. Many flying treasures waited in the void, but the ferry boat did not stand out. Lin Moyu put away the ferry boat, cloaked himself in blue fire, and flew to the array, activating it to travel toward the central domain. After several transmissions and vast leaps in space, he got closer to the central domain. As he approached, the number of cultivators increased. The West Pole's cultivators generally radiated cold, sinister energy, while the surrounding space was chilling. At times, there were queues for the teleportation array. As numbers rose, Lin Moyu sensed something off. He listened to conversations, hopping to pick up some news. With his powerful soul, nothing was hidden. He could overhear almost anything, even soul transmissions. But West Pole cultivators were not social. Their conversations were terse and sparse. After analyzing what he overheard, Lin Moyu learned the answer. The South Pole and Central Domain were at war. Just recently, Chaos's South Pole and Central Domain had formally gone to war. The North Pole was rumored to be stirring as well, and Upper Domain among the three was restless too. Chapter 4475, Destiny from the Depths of the Ancient Wilderness. The Southern Pole of Chaos and the Central Domain had gone to war. The Northern Pole looked likely to join, and Upper Domain forces were prepared to support the Central Domain. The chaos of war had erupted. While the Western Pole had no plans to fight the Central Domain yet, they too were preparing fully. Historically, the Western and Central Poles had fought many times before, with heavy losses on both sides. Thus, the West was making its own preparations this time. It's likely not just the West, even the East should be preparing now too. From what is known, conflicts among the domains usually remain localized. This time, though, it looks different. In the West, Lin Moyu got precious little real intelligence, nor did he wish to press the locals. After all, he was originally from the Central Domain. If discovered, it could spell big trouble. He would rather wait to ask questions after returning to the Central Domain, where he could access everything through the God Alliance. As he traveled, the population of cultivators increased as he neared the Central Domain's border. He found the West's cultivators were massing at the frontier. The atmosphere had grown tense. Given the situation, Lin Moyu was even more wary about his identity. He wasn't afraid of being revealed, just wary of trouble. It could cost many lives. After hundreds of teleports, he finally reached the border. He made his final teleport, plunging into chaos and away from the crowds. Now he was attuned to the positions of the 4 cross-domain teleportation arrays within the Central Domain, but had no sense for the matching sub-arrays in the West. Thus, he had to guess at the location of the West sub-array based on the location of the Central Domain's main array. Lin Moyu used the core's seeking ring to lock onto a region. The area was large, and searching it would take time. The West sub-array was hidden in a rift. Even with Catastrophe Supreme's skill, it wasn't easy to find. Still, with the core's seeking ring, time would yield results. Lin Moyu wasn't searching alone. Little Tree was helping, his command over time-space making him the natural choice. After leaving the transport array, living beings grew rare, until finally they vanished altogether. Little Tree quietly said, "Master, the aura from the ancient wilderness is thicker here." Lin Moyu had felt the same. An emanation from the ancient wilderness was several times stronger now, as if something major was coming. Whatever it was, it hadn't arrived, but its aura had a precursor to disaster, like a storm-driven gale before rain. Lin Moyu suspected that what approached was anything but simple, most likely from the deepest ancient wilderness territory, unreachable even by Supremes, and that it might trigger chaos. He entered the chosen region. Little Tree sent roots to search layer by layer in the rift. Lin Moyu used his understanding of the teleportation array to analyze potential sites. His undead spread in all directions, searching not for the array, but for people. Anyone from the Central Domain would have an array token. These led to sub-arrays. Finding one Central Domain person would drastically narrow his search. The undead fanned out in groups of 10, encountering many beings, but all from the West, not his target. With his undead eye, Lin Moyu could easily tell the difference. Central Domain souls were steady like flickering flames, while Western souls, owing to their unique Tao, were sluggish, slow, subdued. So it was impossible to mistake a Domain soul for a Westerner. 10 days searching, Little Tree had covered a tenth of the region's rifts, with no luck. There was no use in hurrying. It was a careful, methodical process. Over those days, Lin Moyu checked the storage space Yin that was still stabilizing. His power had grown tenfold from before and needed time to settle. Seeing that Yinda was fine, Lin Moyu left him to it. 30 days passed, turning over vast swathes of the region. Lin Moyu muttered to himself, "Next time I go to the south or north, I'll definitely use the Central Domain's array and save myself this trouble." Chaos Child giggled, "Master, next is the north, right?" Lin Moyu nodded, "Yes, the south is at war. Leave it till last. I'll check the north before the fighting starts. But first, I need to retrieve the 5-world domain and split off the Spirit Mist domain." Chaos Child added, "Have you noticed, the aura from the ancient wilderness grows ever stronger?" Lin Moyu replied, "Yes, much stronger. What on earth is coming?" Little Tree interjected, Whatever it is, it's not to be taken lightly. It'll turn the cosmos upside down. Lin Moyu eyed Little Tree. Did you sense something more? Little Tree explained, these days searching time-space for the array, I've noticed the ancient wilderness aura too. That means whatever it is, it can manipulate time-space and could arrive unpredictably. It may be more than one thing, perhaps not just objects, maybe souls, whatever it is, chaos is about to erupt, maybe ancient wilderness too. Chaos Child agreed, Little Tree's right, chaos is inevitable. Lin Moyu frowned, are you hiding something from me? Chaos Child shook his head, nothing. Little Tree thought for a moment. Ancient wilderness erupted once before the master should remember. Lin Moyu realized they'd both survived a past catastrophe. A single flower from the wilderness once caused most ancient powers to perish. The greatest disaster ever nearly wiped out all powerful beings in the chaos. If a similar disaster happened again. You mean that flower came from the deepest wilderness? Little Tree said nothing confirmation enough. Because of that one flower, most chaos ancient beings died half a world away. Now something else was coming. Lin Moyu thought, last time, as terrible as it was, it laid the groundwork for a new era. Is it happening again? Just then, his undead messengers brought word. Lin Moyu focused his vision and smiled. Finally found it. Chapter 4476, Hunting the Western Pole Beings. The undead thralls encountered two groups engaged in pitched battle in the chaos void. Both sides consisted of chaos cultivators, fighting desperately, appearing to risk everything. One side was Western Pole natives from the same race. Their energies, spells, and treasures were nearly identical. The other group was different. Their spells and treasures were all varied, but what connected them was their human race. These humans were not from the same team, but their spells differed from Western Pole style, and they were fighting the Western Pole natives. With just one look, Lin Moyu was 80% certain these humans hailed from the central domain. He checked their soul patterns. Because they were in combat, their soul pulse was erratic, but even so it was clear they were central domain humans. Why they were fighting Western Pole natives was unclear. That was irrelevant. Having found them meant he'd found the cross-domain array. Lin Moyu didn't order his undead to intervene. The fight was evenly matched. Neither side was winning, so he wasn't rushed. His undead quickly surrounded them, forming an enormous encirclement across the region. No one could escape. Lin Moyu made his way there, a long flight. Little Tree kept searching separately. Like Lin Moyu, he didn't like putting all his eggs in one basket. As Lin Moyu traveled, he watched the ongoing skirmish. Suddenly a flare burst in the void, a brilliant light that raced outward across 1 trillion miles. Help signal! Lin Moyu found it amusing. They had actually sent out a plea for assistance. Help signals are common, especially in domain wars. In chaos battles, the field can stretch tens of trillions of miles. A help signal can be seen by comrades within several trillion miles. If anyone sees it, they come to help. Usually that's still unlikely, so the signal often brings no one. Here, Lin Moyu thought it pointless. But Little Tree piped up, someone's coming, master. Surprised, Lin Moyu sensed many were indeed approaching. A moment ago, he doubted, but now he was proven wrong. Little Tree's spatial powers first picked it up, and Lin Moyu followed. A band of hundreds of cultivators arrived, their dress and treasures irregular, except all were human. Lin Moyu noticed they belonged to the same faction, even the same sect. Everything can be faked, except the soul. Their soul pulses were nearly identical as they moved. Their energies camouflaged them as Western Pole natives. Lin Moyu ordered his undead to break the encirclement and create a channel for them to pass. Now something seemed fishy. After just a short time, a large group arrived, far too quickly and precisely, almost as if it was planned. Their formation, timing all suggested it. The original battle with Western Pole natives was just bait. It was a trap for the Western Pole natives designed for massacre. Why murder Western Pole natives? Lin Moyu knew the answer. Although there are humans in the Western Pole, most residents are not. To the Central Domain humans, those are exotic beasts. Every part of their bodies is valuable material. Plus, these natives possess wealth. A hunt can be quite profitable. But such acts risk war between Western Pole and Central Domain, bringing mass slaughter. Lin Moyu remembered the God Alliance once forbade this. If Central Domain did it, so could the 4 other poles. It would breed endless war. The God Alliance ruled the Central Domain, and most followed their decrees. Exceptions exist. Greed drives some to break rules and hunt non-human beings in other poles. This was clearly one such group. But how did they get here? The cross-domain array is run by the God Alliance. Only members can use it. Are all these people God Alliance, and why break their own edicts? If so, the God Alliance has rotten inside. The arriving hundreds entered the fray silently, forming a siege. Then they all attacked the Western Pole natives, who numbered just 30 plus. Faced with 10 times their numbers, they stood no chance and fell one after another. Dead bodies were quickly divided and stripped within half a day. Nothing remained. Next, they took out special mirror treasures, reflecting light restored the void, erased the timeline, erasing all evidence of the slaughter. They were practiced, efficient, well-organized, clearly experienced. As expected, they've done this many times. There's no way Western Pole's powerhouses don't know, just haven't caught them yet. If Great Supreme Zinquan intervened, none would survive. They haven't been found, but word must spread. The hatred between Western Pole and Central Domain will only grow. Little Tree asked, "Master, are you going to do anything?" Lin Moyu shook his head. "Survival of the fittest. As long as they don't mess with me, I won't interfere. Even if I wanted to, it's not my place. This is Zinquan's turf. If he's silent, it's not for me to meddle." In Lin Moyu's mind, life and death are fated. Actions bring consequences, and these people will pay eventually. He didn't need to intervene. The slaughtered Western Pole natives hadn't defied fate, they simply accepted it. As the scene was cleared, Lin Moyu arrived. He didn't hide, he flew in openly, but had dispelled the blue flames and didn't disguise himself. Hundreds turned to look, their leadership focused on Lin Moyu. Seeing Lin Moyu was human and only at minor completion, their guard dropped. A great completion human approached and blocked him. "Who are you?" Lin Moyu answered respectfully, "Junior Lin, from the Central Domain God Alliance. Greetings." His tone was polite, though not submissive, just basic courtesy. The man frowned. "God Alliance." Lin Moyu produced a God Alliance badge. Even so, the man didn't drop his guard. "What do you want?" Chapter 4477, Central Domain God Alliance, Tang Feng. His reaction puzzled Lin Moyu. The Central Domain God Alliance has clear rules. If 2 members meet anywhere in the 4 extremes, they're to help each other. Rules may be rigid, but at the very least, people put on a polite front even if they won't actually help. But this man wasn't just impolite, he was openly wary, which was a red flag. Was Lin Moyu's prior guess wrong? Were these not really God Alliance members, but people using some other means to get here? Wilderness Scar is so dangerous that bringing so many people would be suicidal unless they had some kind of safeguard. Even if they had a way to stay alive, time was still an issue. These suspicions ran through Lin Moyu's mind. The other man's response was so odd, yet Lin Moyu still thought they must be God Alliance members. Only the cross-domain array could explain how so many got into the Western Pole safely. Their outward appearance and gear were quite varied, but soul aura cannot be faked. they must share the same backing. Under the God Alliance sit many allied forces and sects. These were likely one of them. Seeing Lin Moyu slow to answer, the man grew even less patient, his soul power throbbing. What do you want? This slight movement set off the whole group. Hundreds stared him down with clear hostility. Lin Moyu feigned surprise. Aren't you also God Alliance people? The man said coldly, that's none of your business, get lost. I'm letting you go only because you're human too. Lin Moyu frowned but didn't leave. God Alliance rules say we're to assist each other when abroad. He was cut off. Enough talk, beat it. The man seemed moments from violence, but hesitated, glancing at Lin Moyu's God Alliance badge, a subtle but telling gesture. Apparently, the badge has uses beyond just ID. That alone was making them uneasy about acting directly. It confirmed they were at least in some way connected to the God Alliance. The badge must have secrets Lin Moyu had yet to learn, but he decided to hold off, since they weren't attacking. Seeing Lin Moyu standing firm, the man grew furious. Why haven't you left yet? Don't make me kill you. Lin Moyu replied, I only have one thing to ask. If you're not part of the God Alliance, then bring someone who is. If he was going to be rude, Lin Moyu wouldn't bother with pleasantries. The other's soul power now surged, ready for action right as a voice called out from a distance, what's going on? A middle-aged man arrived, with a powerful and steady aura at great completion, almost peak. If he found the right domain, he could probably become a perfection expert at once. As he approached, Lin Moyu's badge grew warm, tingling in his palm. The newcomer also produced a similar badge. There was no doubting his God Alliance status. Between God Alliance members, the badge self-activates within a certain range and is soul-linked, so it can't be faked. Clearly, the newcomer was truly God Alliance. The man who'd blocked Lin Moyu explained the situation. The new arrival bowed slightly. Central Domain God Alliance, Tang Feng. Lin Moyu bowed in return. Central Domain God Alliance, Lin Moyu. This was confirmation. The first man who blocked Lin Moyu was not of the God Alliance. He could only be there thanks to Tang Feng. That didn't matter. What mattered was that Lin Moyu finally had a real God Alliance member to deal with and could ask about the cross-domain array. Do you need something, fellow Taoist Lin? Tang Feng was polite and didn't look down on Lin Moyu despite his cultivation. On the contrary, he respected anyone who could travel this far into the Western Pole. Lin Moyu said, I got lost in the wilderness scar, ended up in the West. Now I'm looking for the array to return to the central domain. As it happens, fellow Taoist Tang, might you show me the way? Tang Feng regarded him thoughtfully. Lin Moyu's claim didn't make much sense. Someone who can't find the array wouldn't have a token, and without a token couldn't use the array even if he found it. These details puzzled Tang Feng, but he chose not to press. That's easy enough, but if you have no token, how will you cross? Lin Moyu said, I have my means, please, fellow Taoist Tang. Pressed but unconvinced, Tang Feng studied the badge and confirmed Lin Moyu's identity. Still, something was off. Tang Feng said, it's no problem, but I have many comrades here and must discuss things with them first. Please wait a moment. He returned to his group. Lin Moyu, watching from afar, focused his soul power and caught snatches of their discussion. Many voices talked at once, but it was clear Tang Feng led the group, and only he would make the final decision. Of the hundreds, most were at great completion, the rest at minor completion. These seemed to be juniors who rarely spoke, only listening on the edge. Soon Tang Feng came back. Your request is reasonable, but we still have business to deal with. Once that's finished, we'll help you. Lin Moyu replied, your business must be urgent. Since the array can't be far. Tang Feng agreed. Yes, it's urgent but also close by. Here, what I propose, come with us, and when we're done, we'll all go to the array. We need to head back ourselves anyway. Lin Moyu thought it over. That's fine. He didn't pressure Tang Feng and was even curious what their urgent matter was. With Lin Moyu's agreement, Tang Feng called out, "Let's move out." He summoned a sword, enlarged it, and gestured for Lin Moyu to board. "Fellow Taoist Lin, please join me." Lin Moyu calmly stepped up. "Many thanks, fellow Taoist Tang." Everyone else summoned similar swords, the design nearly identical. Tang Feng used a hand seal, hundreds of swords snapped into seamless formation. Through the void move out, Chapter 4478, the Chaos Realm Great Completion Thief. Traveling through the void, the sword formation was quite incredible. Hundreds of paired swords and chaos cultivators had their Kai and power merged into one seamless force. At this moment, the group was like a single razor-sharp blade. The sword pierced through the barriers of reality, firing through space as a shining streak. Lin Moyu stood atop the sword, feeling an illusion of entering the ancient wilderness road. Though it was not really that path, it was artificially created. Hundreds of great completion chaos cultivators, combining their strength and treasures to make a unique channel. This tunnel used time-space attributes, allowing everyone to move silently. It was stealth rather than raw speed. Lin Moyu noticed their pace was actually not fast at all, even slower than his own flight. But the magic was in cloaking their tracks with time-space power. Tang Feng's sword tip kept producing corpses. These were Western Pole natives they'd slain over the years. The bodies were burned in the 487 sword formation, their leftover energy joining the formation and reinforcing it. Because the corpses came from the Western Pole, their burned auras helped hide the group's trail even better. They kept moving quietly toward their goal. Tang Feng, controlling the sword, didn't explain, but Lin Moyu broke the silence. "Taoist Tang, are you on a special mission?" Tang Feng glanced over, a bit startled, as if to ask, "How did you guess?" Despite seeming stern and poker-faced, Lin Moyu could tell Tang Feng was bad at hiding emotion. It took just one question to get his answer. Lin Moyu laughed. "No need to be surprised, Taoist Tang. I'm no stranger to time-space power. I can sense the unusual state we're in." Tang Feng still kept silent. Lin Moyu didn't press, but continued. "If this is really so special, why bring me along? Wouldn't it be safer to let me go to the array first? Adding a stranger to a task only increases risk. What if I somehow mess up your plan?" Tang Feng murmured, "Could be a risk, but it could be something else too." As he spoke, he looked toward the front. Lin Moyu followed his gaze to a man with an odd aura. Lin Moyu could see lots of karma wrapped about this person, entangled into an eerily balanced knot. To someone cultivating karma, this man would look like a mystery, impossible to read. But Lin Moyu saw it differently. After years of dealing with karma, he knew there was something deeper called fate. Karma and fate are linked. Hardly anyone cultivates fate in chaos. It's too difficult. Most start with karma before glimpsing something more. In standalone domains, fate is easier to tap, but entering chaos makes it far more complex. Those who practice fate in a domain often lose that power in chaos, or must switch to another Tao. In chaos, fate is often called destiny. Lin Moyu said that man cultivates fate very rare. Tang Feng was even more amazed. "You can tell." Lin Moyu shrugged. "I dabble in lots of things, but just superficially. Still, I'd guess you brought me because it was his idea." Tang Feng said, "You're a cut above Taoist Lin. His name is Tang Bing, and he is my blood kin." Lin Moyu replied, "From what I understand, fate cultivators have to sacrifice a lot, and their fighting prowess is usually lower than others. If you learn fate by starting with karma, your life gets tangled and danger follows. Any group with a fate cultivator guards them like treasure, never letting them roam unless absolutely necessary. So this mission must truly be special, sending out a fate cultivator." Tang Feng admitted. Tang Bing ran a prediction and saw our mission had only a 50% success rate. But after we met you, he predicted again and saw the chance jump to 80%. The extra 30% was due to you. That's exactly why I insisted you come. I hope you won't mind. Lin Moyu replied, I won't mind if you're honest with me. If you tell the truth, I don't have much of a temper. Tang Feng explained, we are sneaking into the Western Pole to retrieve something from the Cold Toad clan. Every one of us is part of the Tang God sect, an affiliate of the Central Domain God Alliance. In a great war long ago, our ancestor died in the West, and our sect's treasure, the Dark God Pearl, was lost. We've traced its location after countless years and found it with the Cold Toads, so we came here to reclaim it. Lin Moyu asked, how strong is the Cold Toad clan now? Tang Feng answered, they were powerful once, but in the last Great War, their foundation was severely damaged. Now, at most, 1 or 2 perfection experts remain. They are no longer formidable. He spelled out everything. The Cold Toad were once strong, but now lived on the edge of chaos, too weak to risk the core region. So whatever happened internally, no one paid much notice. Their hundreds could slip in, and even meeting a perfection-level Cold Toad, they still had a good chance. They brought many treasures to restrain perfection-level enemies. All present were great completion chaos cultivators, because rules strictly forbid perfection-level beings from entering another extremity or face instant death. Thus, only great completion experts came. This didn't violate the rules, so Supreme Zinquan wouldn't attack them. As long as the Supreme doesn't act, even perfection experts may not know they're there. With time-space tricks and Tang Bing's fate arts, they could sneak in without a trace. The Dark God Pearl can't be kept in a domain or in a storage treasure, so as long as they could get inside, they could find it. The best option was theft, grab the pearl, and slip out with time-space powers. Lin Moyu smirked, so you're playing at being thieves. Tang Feng forced a smile. Taoist Lin jokes, we're just taking back what's ours, hardly theft. Lin Moyu asked, if you came for the pearl, why have you killed so many Western Pole natives? Seems you've slaughtered more than one group. Tang Feng said, we've been here over 500 years and must have killed 10 batches, totaling several thousand. We hate to do it. This risks war between the West and Central with untold suffering, but it was necessary for us to get inside safely. Tang Bing says you can help us, though I don't know how, but rest assured, as long as I'm alive, you won't be harmed. Chapter 4479, I want that ancient ice. Tang Feng's words were sincere at least. Lin Moyu could easily tell he wasn't lying. With Lin Moyu's current spiritual strength and level, it would be hard to deceive him. Tang Bing's fate technique had only predicted that with Lin Moyu, the odds of their mission succeeding would rise from 50 to 80%. He didn't know why. Fate, also called destiny, belongs to everyone. Destiny can be set or altered. It's always in flux, changed by a million factors. For example, someone might be fated to die at the hands of a lower-level cultivator, only to survive when a stronger person kills that would be Slayer. That cause and effect passes to the new Slayer, and the original victim's fate changes. They might still die eventually, or perhaps live much longer. Then again, their survival could itself be destiny. Destiny's shifting unpredictability is what makes it so elusive. The tiniest thing can change the outcome from moment to moment. Now Lin Moyu had joined their group. This was thanks to Tang Bing's calculation, as well as Lin Moyu's desire to save time by having Tang Feng guide him to the cross-domain array. Ironically, by trying to save time, he might spend even longer. It all felt like fate. Regardless, Tang Feng's attitude made Lin Moyu decide that if he could help, he would. During their chat, Lin Moyu learned how they'd managed to get here. Tang Feng possessed a treasure, or rather, Tang God sect did, that was obtained from the ancient wilderness by their fallen ancestor. This treasure contained a whole world inside, able to hold living beings. By using his God Alliance identity with the cross-domain array, Tang Feng brought his sect members to the Western Pole to try and reclaim the Dark God Pearl. Tang Feng didn't know what the Dark God Pearl actually did. He only knew it was the unrivaled treasure of the sect, and every ancestor considered it supremely important. If it weren't for restrictions placed by the Supremes, those ancestors would have come in person. The sword formation they traveled in was a secret art unique to Tang God sect, using a touch of time-space power to stealthily pass through layers, all the way to their destination. It offered strong concealment, but was extremely tiring and quite slow. Chaos is vast, so Tang Feng had paused several times to recover before pressing on. After a dozen days of this process, they were finally close. The Cold Toad's home was remote, near the edge of the Western Pole much further, and they'd be in Chinese letter. Here Chinese letter influence had begun to seep in, but chaos still ruled the area. The temperature was frigid, even compared to the rest of the Western Pole. According to Tang Feng, this chill came from the Cold Toad's lair, which was a chunk of ancient ice that had never melted for countless years. The whole clan was born and bred atop it. Supposedly, the ice came from the northern pole, not native to the west, and somehow had remained there all this time. Lin Moyu didn't really care about the Cold Toad lineage. What truly interested him was that ancient ice. Little Tree's power pierced time-space and relayed information about the ice to Lin Moyu. Master, this so-called ancient ice is actually the corpse of the cold ancient behemoth. Chaos Child exclaimed, so it's that beast. In its day, it could freeze heaven and earth. Even golden-winged Peng would have to steer clear. Little Tree added, it was a creature of absolute cold. At full power, it could freeze trillions of miles. Even golden-winged Peng would be frozen stiff if it got close, not dead, but its speed would be crippled. Everything has its counter. The Peng's speed bested countless powerful beings, but the cold ancient behemoth's freezing power was an utter counter to the Peng. In reality, the behemoth's true form was the very first ice between heaven and earth. When it died, it reverted to pure ice. During the ancient war, much of it was destroyed. What remained became only a fragment, but still as vast as a domain, and it was on this husk that the Cold Toads made their home. It was easy to imagine how massive the original behemoth was in the Age of Giants. Only beings of truly unimaginable size earned the name Behemoth. The behemoth's corpse, the ancient ice Tang Feng spoke of, was of great value to Lin Moyu. Its identity was too unique to make it a revenant. If Lin Moyu revived it, Tao itself would intervene. But used as the foundation for cultivating domains, it was peerless, especially for compressing domain power. After Little Tree and Chaos Child analyzed the matter, Lin Moyu set his heart on possessing the ancient ice. He softly questioned, Tang Feng, have you thought what you'll do if you can't steal the pearl? Tang Feng shook his head, that's not an option. If we fail, we'll die here. We may not be able to destroy the Cold Toads, but we'll wound them grievously. If war truly arrives between West and Central, our sect's perfection-level ancestors will come following the trail left by our blood to avenge us. Tang Feng was totally resolved, either succeed or die, never considering failure. He then added, that was how we thought before, when the success rate was low. Now, with you here, it leapt to 80%, we're sure to succeed. Lin Moyu caught a key point, so you expect West and Central to go to war. Tang Feng nodded. Tang Bing predicted there's a 90% chance. 90% was a virtual certainty. Lin Moyu's instinct told him it was connected to whatever was coming from the ancient wilderness. The group paused. They'd entered the Cold Toad domain, slipping into the ancient ice, though in another layer of time-space. To emerge, All they had to do was cancel their spell, and they'd appear inside. Tang Feng produced a divination compass to pinpoint the location of the Dark God Pearl. They came here to steal, not to rob outright. At the same time, Tang Bing made a last prediction, wanting to double-check their odds. He was closely guarded by 10 great completion experts. Tang Bing was weak in combat and could be easily killed. The compass spun. Soon, it locked onto the pearl's location. Tang Feng's eyes shone, found it. Simultaneously, Tang Bing finished his prediction. His face lit up in excitement. Brother, the odds are now 100%. 100%. Tang Feng was stunned. Even he knew fate never offered a true guarantee. There's always a variable. The best he'd ever seen was 99%. But now it was perfect certainty. Tang Feng asked, "Are you sure? Could it be wrong?" Tang Bing agreed it was strange and tried to check again, but Lin Moyu stopped him. "No need, that's normal. Tang Feng, when you take the pearl, I want the ancient ice." Chapter 4480, not a small amount of power. Lin Moyu understood exactly why Tang Bing's prediction had reached 100%. Even though Lin Moyu didn't specialize in the Tao of Fate, he was clear on the basic principles. Fate is constantly changing, and the Tao always leaves a thread of hope. Even for the Cold Toad clan, there should have been at least a minimal chance for survival. So for the odds to be absolute means the Cold Toad's thread of fate had been cut off. The reason, Lin Moyu himself. When he joined the group, he hadn't intended to act directly, so the Cold Toad's fate persisted and Tang Feng's odds were only 80%. Once he decided to intervene, that thread was severed. Unless he changed his mind, the outcome was fixed. This was why Tang Bing's prediction was beyond precedent. Lin Moyu realized something unusual. His own intentions now had such an influence that he could utterly determine destiny, erasing all hope for the opposing side. The impact was subtle on the surface, but deep down it was terrifying. A single thought, action, or intention could change everything. Tang Feng looked at Lin Moyu. "Taoist Lin, I'm not sure I understand." Lin Moyu answered, "Take it at face value." Tang Feng frowned. "You want the ancient ice, but that's the Cold Toad's clan land. How do you expect to take it?" Lin Moyu replied, "Just go for the Dark God Pearl. Let me handle the rest." Tang Feng didn't get it, but this wasn't the time to worry. Their divination compass locked onto the Dark God Pearl, and the team readied themselves. His voice rang out to everyone. "It's time to move. There's no failure possible. Either return with the Dark God Pearl or die here." Everyone was burning with fighting spirit. The mood was tense. Tang Feng bellowed, "Attack!" Their hidden technique dissipated, and space shifted. All of them instantly emerged in the real world. Frigid winds tore at them. Even chaos cultivators at great completion felt the cold cutting to the bone, chilling both body and soul and weakening their power. The whole group was suffering, except for Lin Moyu, who felt absolutely nothing. With his soul and physical strength, only a living cold ancient behemoth could trouble him. Mere ancient ice was meaningless. The air glittered with ice blossoms, no snow, just intricate shards blooming everywhere and pelting them. In the distance stood a palace like white jade, topped by a spire with a single black pearl set at its tip. Amid all that whiteness, the black pearl, the Dark God Pearl, was more distinct than ever. One glance told Lin Moyu that the palace was heavily warded, protected by a rare bloodline array not easy to break. There was no one inside, but outside, 4 Cold Toad perfection experts had buried themselves in the ice, hiding their aura from sight. Lin Moyu, using the undead eye, could see all 4, 2 injured and weakened, just as Tang Feng had said. But the other 2 were healthy. Tang Feng's information had been off. The Cold Toads had mostly recovered. Without Lin Moyu, these 4 alone would have doomed Tang Feng's mission. The group's sudden appearance drew instant attention from the cold toads. The ice wind shifted with howls echoing across the ancient ice. Shattered ice erupted as hordes of cold toads burst up to attack. No discussion was needed. Tang Feng's party were invaders, and chaos customs dictated, kill the intruders. Tang Feng shouted, initiate the Tang God Grand Sword Formation. Hundreds of swords rose and meshed into a titanic sword array. Everyone in Tang God's sect quickly made seals, linking their kai with the array. Their clothing transformed, taking on matching robe shapes. These were treasure garments, which glowed with sword light and merged with the formation to amplify its power. Their aura tipped from cautious to razor sharp. They felt ready to slice through anything. At their level, destroying a domain was a single sword's effort. Lin Moyu found it amusing the sword array was using Tang Bing as its core, while Tang Feng handled support. To base a battle formation on fate divination, that's interesting, Lin Moyu mused. Tang Bing constantly predicted their next moves, steering the sword formation and the battle with tactical precision. This wasn't the highest level use of the Tao of Fate, but it was certainly practical. Little Tree remarked, using the Tao of Fate this way leads you astray odd effects, but the wrong path. Chaos Child agreed. Anyone who mastered true Fate Tao would be furious to see it reduced to this. In Little Tree's ancient era, Fate Taos had been held by truly powerful beings. One, supposedly, had perished. Little Tree mused, maybe that guy isn't dead. Chaos Child replied, of all us old-timers, he's got the best chance of making it through. Little Tree nodded. Last time I saw him, he said he had to leave or he'd die, but I never found out if he actually left. Lin Moyu asked, who was he? Little Tree shook his head. No one remembers. He erased himself from fate. We all sensed he existed, but couldn't name him or picture his face. If he walked by now, we wouldn't know. Chaos Child said, I do remember him asking me for a huge chunk of precious earth to build a coffin for himself. Little Tree agreed. He asked me for tree roots and a bit of chaos god soil too, said it was for that coffin. Whoever he was, that explained why Chaos Child bet on his survival. He was careful to the extreme. As they spoke, the sword array snapped fully active. The Tang God sect formation spawned countless swords, forcing the cold toad experts back. A massive sword formed and slashed toward the palace. They weren't afraid of breaking the Dark God Pearl. Its power made it indestructible at their level. Their aim was to cut through the palace's array. That the cold toads put the pearl on top as mere decoration was a calculated insult against Tang God sect. Outsiders wouldn't care, but to Tang Feng and his peers, it was infuriating. The White Palace flared with cold light. A huge toad phantom appeared and screamed shrilly. The noise stabbed at the soul, briefly disrupting the sword array's operation and dulling its power. The giant sword struck the toad phantom, shattered, and the whole squad was thrown back. The toad image also cracked, then crumbled. Impressive power, Lin Moyu said. That's where the chapter ends. Here's my analysis. Tianlang ancestor knelt, not in defeat, in gratitude. Lin Moyu had given him a wisp of primordial kai, and the ancient wolf had shattered the barrier between perfection and quasi-supreme. His domain compressed, his power surged, his aura transformed. Congratulations, senior, Lin Moyu said evenly, as if he hadn't just done the impossible. But Tianlang ancestor was no fool. He saw what Lin Moyu was, or what he might become. A being whose karma and fortune couldn't be measured, whose mere presence altered fate itself. He offered a blue wolf hair, a summoning artifact. If you ever need me, call. Lin Moyu accepted, then added, almost casually, Senior, you really shouldn't wear a blue robe. There's someone I find most annoying in blue. Whenever I see one, I feel like fighting. Tianlang ancestor laughed awkwardly. He didn't know Lin Moyu was thinking of a certain supreme who favored that color. But he would learn. Lin Moyu had used Tianlang Ancestor as an experiment. Primordial Kai worked. It could push a perfection to quasi-supreme, but the real test came next. Zyro Peng, the golden-winged Peng bloodline was awakening, and Lin Moyu fed him Primordial Kai in careful doses. The young beast's power soared, bypassing domain restrictions entirely, heading toward a peak that would rival the ancient Peng himself. But Zyro Peng would never be able to return to chaos at full strength. Dao would erase him. The same for Little Tree and Chaos Child. Their only hope was Lin Moyu's storage space, a second chaos, independent and hidden. With enough primordial Kai and careful concealment, they might act in the real world without attracting Dao's attention. Lin Moyu was building an army of ancient beings, hidden in his own soul, ready to strike when needed. Then the attack came. 3 perfection cultivators, empty-eyed and soulless, battered the ferry boat. Behind them, a serpent of immense power lurked in folded time-space, a failed quasi-supreme whose soul had shattered during breakthrough, forced to drift through timelines to avoid madness. The 3-headed python, an ancient horror that had once rivaled supremes, now reduced to a broken remnant. Lin Moyu's catastrophe staff blazed. The soul gem shielded him from control. Yi Yangyan fought at 40% power. Little Tree searched through infinite time layers. And when the python's ancient bloodline began to awaken, Lin Moyu pointed at the 3 perfection corpses. Corpse explosion. 3 blasts tore the python apart. The ancient bloodline never had a chance. The undying fire burned for days. When it faded, the 3-headed python knelt, reborn as Lin Moyu's servant. Not quasi-supreme, but peak perfection. Its space-time talent was gone, absorbed by Little Tree. Only soul control remained. But that was enough. Lin Moyu now had a second quasi-supreme-level revenant. 2 beings who could fight in chaos without fear of Dao's notice, as long as they held back. The python's wealth flooded into Lin Moyu's storage space. Mountains of materials, enough to keep the Silverlight rabbits busy for years cultivating domains. And Lin Moyu's plan grew clearer. Perfect 9 domains, compress their power, fuse them into a 10th, Chaos Child's inner world, become something beyond supreme, beyond even catastrophe supreme. Then face Dao. On the edge of the western pole, Lin Moyu found them. Hundreds of great completion cultivators, hiding in folded time-space, using a sword formation that burned Western corpses to mask their trail. The Tang God sect, an affiliate of the Central Domain God Alliance, had come to steal back their ancestral treasure, the Dark God Pearl, from the Cold Toad clan. Their fate cultivator, Tang Bing, had predicted a 50% chance of success. Then Lin Moyu arrived. 80%, Tang Bing said. Then Lin Moyu decided to intervene. 100%, Tang Bing whispered, stunned. Fate never offered certainty, but Lin Moyu's mere intention had severed the Cold Toad's thread of hope. Tang Feng, the sect leader, didn't fully understand, but he agreed to Lin Moyu's price. When they took the pearl, Lin Moyu would take the ancient ice. The corpse of the cold ancient behemoth, a creature so vast its frozen body had become the Cold Toad's homeland, a treasure beyond measure for compressing domain power. The Tang God sword formation blazes to life. The Cold Toad's perfection guardians emerge from the ice. The palace shatters, and the Dark God Pearl gleams black against the white. But Lin Moyu isn't watching the pearl. He's watching the ancient ice beneath his feet, the frozen corpse of a behemoth that once froze trillions of miles, a creature that even the golden-winged Peng dared not approach. The question is not whether the Tang God sect will get their treasure. The question is, when Lin Moyu claims the ancient ice, will it be a tool for his plan, or will something sleeping inside it wake up? If these revelations about primordial Kai, ancient pythons, and the frozen corpse of a behemoth have you hungry for more, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for Extreme Highlights audio novels. We bring you the most explosive moments from the novels you love, delivered straight to your ears. New chapters drop daily, so you'll never miss a beat of Lin Moyu's journey. Extreme highlights audio novels where stories come alive.